6. Making a motion to approve the agenda as published. First by Jess, second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any conflict of interest declarations? Okay, moving on. Motion to approve the consent agenda as noted. Board meeting minutes for March 12th, 2025, regular board meeting. Bill listings for April 9th, 2025. Interest expense, financials for March 2025. Second. First by Jess, second by Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comment. Hearing none? All right. Student report. What do we got?
Come on.
You're up, Mrs. English.
Hi, this spring, the music department's been pretty busy, so I've asked for the seniors to come and tell about their senior music trip, if I can let them speak to themselves. Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, so on March 19th, myself, these three seniors, Miss Emily and Thapper, all went to Denver for our senior music trip. The day we were supposed to go down, and the day we did go down, we were supposed to go to a musical. That got canceled, so we went to a trampoline park. Seemed like the best substitution. The next couple of days, 2 days, we went to an NCAA basketball game. We also went to a factory tour at Hammond's Candy in Denver, which is really cool. They were like filming the candy everywhere. Wasn't ready for that. It was cool though.
Were you in the middle of wrestling at this time, so you couldn't partake in the candy?
No, I was done. That same day we went to a rage room, so we got to get stuff sent out for us in a room and break it. It was great. Got to pick out our tools. It was great. Let's see, the next day.
All safety equipment.
Yeah, I should have. There's safety protocols, I guess. The next day we went to the Denver Museum of Natural Science and Nature. That was really cool. I won't talk about our personal preferences there, but.
I don't like words, they think it's very fun.
Fair enough. We went to the aquarium later. Sarah pet a stingray for the first time.
Nice.
That was an experience for all of us. We got to hear about it for a while. We went to a kind of an abstract exhibit called Downhill Flavor. It seems kind of funky, but it's actually really cool. You get to kind of follow this story as you go in there. And from what I know, that's new, right? That story part.
Yeah.
I think so. I thought you told me that, but it's kind of new. You get to follow the story all throughout this whole exhibit. And that was really cool. We all had a good time. And for our last main thing of the trip, we went to an escape room, which is really cool. I think we escaped with 18 minutes left out of an hour. So
Wow.
Nice.
that capped off our trip.
You guys obviously worked well together. Ish.
Yeah.
Thank you. You deserve that for being in fire all those, fan fire all those years. Thank you.
But yeah, we just wanted to thank you guys for this opportunity and for your support in the music program. It means a lot, and I know it meant a lot to me to be able to take this trip. I've seen people, seniors, years before me take it, and it meant a lot to be able to do it myself. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Anything from the girls?
Thank you.
Fair enough.
When they were in the rage room, we could watch them from the outside. They were dressed, totally covered except their little faces. And you could tell which student was which by how they would attack things. Or not very daintily displayed. And it was fun to watch their personalities come out. And again, thank you for the opportunity to take them. I think that's all for the senior trip that we have to report on. Next, I have a little report about our music contest that we had last Friday. we had a music contest for our 5th through 8th grade students. And I have two girls who would like to share their solos tonight if you have time, but first I have a little rundown of that contest. We had two judges. We had Scott Muirhead from Lyman County and Joni Willoughby, who was a former student here a long, long time ago. She was our local judge. She's teaching in Jones County now. We had 67 entries for the day. And of those, we had 8 excellent ratings, 49 superior ratings, and 49 superior plus ratings. I had 4 high school students give up their mornings and help us that day, which really made things possible. Mason Schmaltz, Sydney Green, Taylor Barda, Morgan Luce, and then little Ella Myers, she was a second grader. She ran around and picked up ballot sheets, and she thought that was a pretty neat gig. And then we had Shannon Schweitzer, Nicole Barnes, Derek Myers, Elaine Myers, and a few parents who just got the job done for us. I think things ran smoothly. We started about 10 o'clock and we're done about 1. We ran over schedule by about half an hour, 45 minutes. But we had good feedback from the judges. They're rather impressed. So thanks for that opportunity to host our own event. There's much more rigging than the middle school contest we've attended in the past. And again, I appreciate that from my kids. Great feedback. So thank you. You guys have time for 2 solos?
Absolutely.
Perfect. We've decided Elise will go first. She won rock, paper, scissors. So. Are you ready? Was that a yes or ready? Oh, me. What is not to singing? They do stuff. Elise is singing Hot Romeo Ben. Do you remember what language you're singing? Yeah.
Elise. Elise, do you have any idea what you just sang?
It's a love song.
We could tell that. Tell that, no, really.
And what happened? You know. What happened? She finds her love. And then.
No, no.
They were heartbroken.
Yeah.
We could tell it. Let me-
Play a little bit. Gonna tell them what you're playing?
I'm playing To a Wild Rose.
Thank you, that's all we have.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks for the update, Sarah. Yes.
If things stay, yes. But like I said, that was kind of late January there when there was that executive order that essentially paused federal funding. If that were to happen, the program would stop. It would have stopped the following Monday had it not been rescinded. So again, and that would be another immediate goal is that we can have enough kind of on hand. So God forbid something like that happens, it's not Monday, there's no gold program. You know, even if that was supposed to be a temporary pause, but even if that was 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks without the gold program. So even if we can have enough that we could fill in those gaps, if that happened, that would be the other short-term goal, with the long-term goal being, again, 2029 rolled around, they don't get it. We have enough to support keeping it going.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's our number one goal, is to make sure it's functioning.
Thank all of you. Thank you.
Debbie.
Thank you, guys.
I just want to make sure that everybody understands that Shaylee is as awesome as he's saying. I'm not sure if the board knows, but and Shaylee and I work closely this year. So if that program goes away, it also takes that tutoring ability away. And we have, in the beginning of the year, we did 4th and 5th grade with some third sprinkled in there. And then the teachers came to us and Shaylee and I sat down again as well, and we talked about doing that in earlier grades. And it really has shown a difference. The paras I designed the stuff for them to do, and it has to do with what the teachers want them to be learning. So if that goes away, then that goes away as well. So I just want to make sure that you all do that as well. And Shaylee, thank you. You've been an amazing partner to work with. Thanks.
So how, do we have a little, something lined up if we were to actually?
I don't know, probably at the end of the month when I hear back on some of these grants.
Good.
But that's the whole, like I said, this would have been the middle of February that this became official, I guess. Like I said, really nothing's changed in our mind other than now I can write grants for it.
Sure.
And stuff. So, we're working on that part. Like I said, our goal is to have something like that by the end of the year. And then, like I said, hopefully build something out over the next 4 years. And then I guess I forgot to ask, and you can jump in on some of these things, but I'd say the only thing that we've really added in terms of the programming change is we're really helping them. They're getting a lot more experiences to be able to move around and do things in the community. They've had it at 100 hours, but that was from last month. So it might be more than 100 hours of community service that's gone on and from the kids and staff of the gold program out in the community. I know they've done some work at Feeding South Dakota. They've gone to Peaceful Pines and done some different activities. But they're just different activities and different opportunities that I don't know that we've had in the past, because River City's transit has been is to just be in a gym all day. So being able to do that, especially on Fridays, I think has been a game changer. So.
Also with that space, we have incorporated a new, kind of 4th and 5th grade classroom upstairs. If you guys have ever been in there, there's like my office space, and then there's another activity art room type situation. And at the beginning of this year, that was one of our goals, to completely clear out any clutter that we may have seen or something that kind of gets in the way of our program. And in order for us to do that, well, as we did that, we sent 4th and 5th grade upstairs so they can work on the more advanced STEM projects, advanced community service projects. They kind of have a space to themselves to really focus in a quiet area compared to the first graders in kindergarten screaming downstairs and doing handstands on the wall. That kind of takes away from their focus. And I mean, it's been an awesome improvement. I love seeing those guys grow. They tend to seem a lot more focused, a lot more teamwork when they have that certain space to be. And that's kind of what we've been trying to do as well, is just find space for everyone to have their own little section, have their own group. Even though we are in a big gym, we make it work. The kids make it work. They are awesome. They cooperate as much as they can. I mean, trying to make a building that wasn't originally meant for kids to be in, they are doing a great job making it for a place for kids to be in now, especially with my staff and Yeah, I will take this time to thank my team members as well. They're not only my team members, they are my role models, they are leaders, and yeah, I learned a lot from them, and I couldn't ask for a better team. So that's my piece.
I have a question. JK, is it open enrollment for JK as well? Like to come, like, can the JK kids in?
All day kindergarten. yes.
What?
All day kindergarten.
Our JK is all day.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
This fall.
Yep.
Not over summer.
Yes, but this
Yeah.
fall. Yeah, okay, that was just my question.
But not between 2 and 3. So they're gonna have to do something else between 2 and 3. They can't come.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
figure
we'll have
out
to
something
figure
on
all that
that
out.
part of it, just because the timing of workers coming. They're done.
Oh, good.
Now.
Yes, there's an all day program.
Good.
Okay, good deal.
Yep.
That makes it way easier.
Yep.
Anything else?
Proud of the Shannon. Thank you. I know, I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of teachers.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Appreciate the time.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
You're up.
I don't have a lot. We didn't have a lot on our agenda tonight. We talked about bringing someone in to talk to the kids next year about internet safety, probably in September or October. Mrs. Vaughn had talked to somebody that she had seen present before, so we talked about that. Keely had sent me an email that we're gonna need to do an emergency action plan for all of our sporting areas. So the softball field, the football field, the basketball courts, the restroom building, that's something that we're gonna have to do. She thinks that that's going to be required by the High School Activities Association going forward, so that we just talked about a little bit today. We have 4 people completely trained for the threat assessment team now. I finished mine this weekend, so,
So Kurt Baxter, you and who?
sure. There's other people that are still, in the process.
Yep.
But it is about 9 or 10 hours total probably. So, it is kind of a lengthy process. One 3-hour session they have to do via Zoom. So it's not at your own pace. The other 6 hours are at your own pace. So, yeah, that is, and so I gave my certificate to Mr. Baldwin today, but it recognizes you as to be the serve on threat assessment. So, yeah. The other thing we talked about was, the cabinets that we've been talking on for now 2 years. I had Mr. Anders price out how much it was gonna cost approximately. They are way cheaper for Mr. Anders to build than what we can get purchasing.
Yep.
So we're probably gonna go forward with that, at least to get some of them done, try to get some of them done yet this year. That's our thought. And then we also looked at signs for them that, I don't know if they hang or they're either they're on the wall or the ceiling, I'm not.
They're on
which
the
one,
wall,
but
they're 2 sided, so you can see it from either direction.
that basically says AED, bleed, kit.
Sure.
Whatever else, there's a list of stuff that'll be in there. So we talked about that, and then, that was pretty much everything. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, buildings and grounds.
Well, I sent you that report today. You can look at that at your leisure. A lot of it is, stuff that we talked about with the Buildings and Grounds Committee, getting some of the work orders and getting some of the initial things ready for this, summer. And then discussing our work order updates and, the capital outlay plans, anything to add from you guys or maybe, or,
I don't think so.
you
I
know,
think, everything in that report really said everything.
things about.
Yeah.
He's our ISG report guru. He is combing through that and then, we'll look at, our capital outlay, we have a broad thing set
Yep.
and we need to, it gets redirected annually. And now what we want to do is together get those details in there with our assessment reports and stuff as we move forward, and how we do that is up to you guys on how we move and discuss all that. Example of adjusting all the time. We had a concession, whatever you wanna call it, yesterday. Where with the steel studs and cutting them out, there was gonna be a possible, estimate increase. And I'm trying to limit increases, and so Mammoth brought two people over, and Lane and Derek, and helped cut that out and kept it at the same price as we had it, so. There's some of those adjustments that go unnoticed, and that was a big one yesterday.
So what happened there as far as, didn't notice it?
The moving company hadn't looked at it as close as they thought. They were gonna have to take off the sheet metal to see exactly how it was fastened into the ground. And then they discovered they gotta cut out these steel posts. And so it was quickly, John from Mammoth quickly helped, discuss that with the moving company, and we corralled the four employees to help, and I kept that thing at where it was, so. And that's gonna be my goal in a lot of things. With the city, we are talking about, let me see, I got an email here from the mayor. We'll have the property surveyed and replated before it can be deeded over to the school. I'll contact a couple of engineering firms and see if I can get this done quickly. Attorney said it shouldn't hold up your project. So it's just a matter of details and how we can coordinate the land rights. Okay? And that's really all I got, unless, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or I'll, like to relay to Derek and, continue on with our pursuits here.
Other than the section says there been any snags up there yet?
No. Not today, but every day is different. No, I think so far you've noticed Mammoth coming in and out and hauling that dirt, and they don't mess around.
Yeah.
The estimate was on a 5-day schedule. As you can tell, they work 7 days.
Yeah.
And each crew wants to get in and get out and get to the next project, and so they're pretty phenomenal, I think.
This dirt over here alongside that they dumped, that's what he's gonna use to fill this in, and
I believe so, yep.
Yeah.
And then Derek, he's coordinating with how to use some of that topsoil.
Yeah.
And so, big things ahead there.
awesome.
That's all I got really in terms of questioning so far.
Do we have any idea as to what building projects we may be, not this building project, but improvements we're going to try to make between now and summer on other sites, on other buildings, on,
So Derek suggested that we do the rest of the doors and the windows on this building. And he got quotes for that. The hallways and ceiling grid and lights in the rest of the hallways over there in the middle school, high school. What he wants to do those. There's a slab on the west side of the ag building that needs done for drainage and ADA stuff. What am I missing?
That's kind of what this stuff is right here. So,
The band room.
Band room,
yep.
And the middle school library doors.
Fire
doors.
okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if we were going to attempt to do something, more visible.
Yep.
We
he
had
is
that
looking
discussion.
into,
Paint or,
paint
Window.
or a covering for the high school. And I don't know what you to call that.
Hey, or the,
The high school, what was he, talking about with,
like a stucco?
no, he was gonna talk to, oh, shoot, Lance Brable about
Oh, I know what you're talking
what
about.
he could put on,
Like outside of our clinic, like Midwest. did.
yes.
Yeah.
To spruce it up.
like that rock looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did, get a quote for the windows over there, and they were much higher than, I know that's gonna shock you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that being said,
yeah. But yes, he's looking into that. So,
I know I mentioned this to you, in a conversation, but could we have, could we take a look at the drainage issues around Parkview that were listed out in ISD just to make sure there's nothing that makes sense doing concurrently with the field. And maybe it doesn't make sense to do all of it concurrently with the field, but I think it would be worth a second look to just make sure there's nothing drainage wise around Parkview that we would rather do now while everything's torn up and while we can coordinate.
I believe ISG is tending to that side anyway.
Mammoth.
Or
Mammoth.
Mammoth,
Yeah.
Yep, cause it's gonna be a drain.
Mammoth,
over in that corner.
a part of this corner, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, from what I gather, they are improving it. Um,
We still don't know if it's completely done around. Like that's gonna be all improved and whatever we do eventually for drainage is gonna be able to handle everything that we need.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Yep, that's all. I
I
just,
think so.
you know, I feels like we just need to pay extra attention to making sure everybody involved in the two things are talking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my understanding was it'll help along, cause the drainage from the parking lot is gonna go into a bigger pipe.
Yep.
That's how John
Yeah.
Which is out
explained it.
there,
Yeah, which is gonna go to that drainage, I don't know, over that way. Yeah, that way.
that way, the northeast corner.
because it was 18 inches neck down to a
And
12.
it should have never been that small.
Yep.
Yes. And that will help because it'll be able to flow quicker.
Another question I don't know the answer to, or many. The Buffalo signage that is on the high school, that Mr. Somebody help me. Oh, here. Matt.
Are we playing charades here?
First name, Maxwell?
Yeah, Maxwell.
There you go. He was the one that brought that initially to us, and I do not recall what the specifications were on after so many years. I don't recall if we replaced that or because, well, the buffaloes were faded,
Yep.
becoming a white buffalo out there. And so I don't know if we're supposed to do that or you know, Mr. Gabriel, what the status is on that? On the corner of the high school, on the
Facing the house.
southwest corner of the high school, when you drive by on the highway.
Got that.
Right, big buffalo.
Kind of like
Yep.
this one over here. It looks-
That came from Maxwell.
Yeah.
I can talk to him on Monday because I meet with him on Monday.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, and the same with this one over here.
Don't check on.
That great big sign is what's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we
And
gonna,
this-
what are we?
Outside above the door.
Well, I talked about that.
I'll help you sign it.
It's not,
Let's just find out.
they're all, they should go with other
Yes.
LEDs or something, they're pretty.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
They're not worth it.
They're not.
Football lights?
Yep.
Yeah, they're goals. They're really not worth the time for you to have that headache again.
Is that why postponing didn't work?
I think so. I mean, this is another, I know Derek's communicating with them. He would
He was on
love
board
to
now.
do whatever he could to help
Yes.
us.
It's on post line board, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he would have encouraged that in a heartbeat, but it's just the lights are so.
Yep. Yep. Anything else on buildings and grounds?
Yeah, that's kind of what we need to work on. Oh, here. that's
Yeah.
Like wooden.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have plans to replace it totally or
Yes, yeah, don't repaint.
are we sanding and painting?
No, we don't want to paint those old ones.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Metal, I believe you said.
Yep.
okay.
That's what I heard.
Otherwise, Jess and I had volunteered to climb up there and sand.
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm gonna take it down. We're gonna do it on the.
Oh, I just.
It's some nice.
Sorry, I was gonna do in the air.
I'm not. I did that sign in the air over there. It's gone. I don't have any problem. I should have asked for that sign to go in my yard that I painted.
So some of the thinking we had with the complex coming, we sure wanted to look nice
Well,
around it and then
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
up and start
Yeah.
moving.
okay.
Yeah.
And, west.
He did, one other thing, he did get some good news, the roof on the elementary is really good for a while.
Not as bad as ISG.
Yeah,
Oh,
yep, I don't know who came in and looked at it, but. So,
so it doesn't leak anymore?
well, I'm sure it still leaks, but there's,
Oh,
That should be
it
bad.
doesn't have to be replaced.
Yeah, the whole
Oh,
roof
it's
doesn't
not-
have.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah.
I don't think that room in the back that's been leaking since it was built has been it didn't leak last year, I don't believe, or this year. So.
Prior year, but
We have enough.
No monsoon.
July. But that's a school year.
Miss Desi and I, it was completely flooding for whatever reason.
Or the
So maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right before school started, it flooded that back, it's storage on.
Yeah.
Derek's flat, but it came under the wall into where the OT and PT stuff was.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that same
Fix
spot.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, he was the
He
same.
said he fixed that, we haven't had water.
It's that very. same.
That was something, yeah.
Okay.
That room was scary 2 years ago when I walked in there for the first time.
It was torn apart.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve memorandum of understanding between Avera St. Mary's Hospital and Stanley County School District as presented?
So move.
First by Shirley, second by Tyler. Any discussion? This was brought to you.
Yes, it was brought to me by, one of the individuals who works security over in the hospital. Anyway, it is a, it's gonna be a rare instance, but
Yep.
should something of high significance happen at the hospital where they need to house patients for short order, in order to transport them to other facilities, we would use Parkview
Yep.
as a holding zone for those patients.
Which
The
makes
likelihood of happening is small and smaller, but still.
Yep. Perfect.
So what do we need to do then? Do we need?
Sign it,
Sir,
send it
want
back.
me to do that?
Yep.
Sign and scan?
Yep.
Yeah,
You have just a Avera?
just to Avera is all it goes to for right now, I believe.
Yeah, I was just gonna write an email.
specific person.
Oh, I'll get you.
Yeah, otherwise I'll send you an email.
I'll send you that.
All right, give me a contact.
Yeah.
Stick that over here.
Perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so the way this is written, and this is not a dig on you, but I just don't understand it. Can I get a motion to hire
Yeah,
from anybody?
oh, shoot.
We'll discuss it after we get a motion.
I'm
First by Tyler,
I'll send you.
second by Jess. Discussion, what do you got?
okay, well, we've been on the,
Oh, my.
We hired.
the Mr. Fisher, situation. Once I got the 45-day waiver turned in, he had his alternate certificate application submitted. Oh, I think on the very same day. And so he is technically what we hoped would, he's already student teaching for this semester. And now I'm making it official. He has a certificate number here. And then I have to show that we've offered the intent to hire. This really applies to the whole second semester. And then, after that, the DOE has a certificate number, we can, issue a contract and then, and then we're good to go. And then he might have a different certificate number when he actually gets his certificate. No different than any other alternate certificate situation we've had. So it's good news. Tate and I are working on it really hard to be sticklers, certificate numbers or we cannot move forward.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing here too.
Perfect.
And then when he's done this semester, then he's official?
Yeah, and then he'll get his actual certificate. Yeah, this is an alternate certificate to be able to student teach and be hired by us.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, first reading of policy CI, administration of staff evaluation.
Again, this is part of that accreditation. We need to get a policy in there to explain our principal evaluations. We have the forms and we've been following all this. It's just that the accreditation has asked us to put a policy in place. So all we're saying is, yes, we do principal evaluations and then we'll have some Danielson domain
There
verbiage.
will have to be some changes.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll add the Danielson domain. I've always followed the ASPSD and the principal effectiveness models. And so we're just gonna put it in policy that we do that.
My only question is, can I ask a question?
Please.
So I was just rereading this again. This has been of stress for me just because I don't know a lot about the principal evaluations, but I've been reading the handbook, which is right there. 130 pages. This policy covers all administrative staff. My worry is like, do we need to have sections for each one? Because they want very specific things about the principal evaluation, which would not be the same as like the other positions that are on here that we.
Did you see, I edited it down to just print. And other
Okay.
administrators may be determined by the board.
Okay,
So right now, all it is principals.
okay, then
You might
maybe
not-
I'm not looking at that one. I might, okay,
Yeah, I condensed it down. I took all those other titles off.
okay. That's what I was worried about when I was reading.
And then I left an other on there, just if there was ever a reason we wanted to include someone else.
Yeah, that's.
And this follows what we have in the negotiated agreement as far as what we're doing right now.
There's nothing with principal
There's
evaluation.
nothing at all.
Following the principal effectiveness model, but
Okay,
It should be similar to the teacher evaluation, the same, kind of framework or
Danielson, yeah.
Danielson framework, but it isn't in there because principals don't fall within it.
good point. Yep, okay.
This is all because accreditation.
Yep.
Otherwise, we have a.
Yep.
And that's what she won't want to do, is make sure she appeases the accreditation.
That's what my biggest worry is just appeasing what they want it to be in there.
That's right.
And because I don't know a lot about their evaluation, and when you read it, it's not very clear.
Yep.
I'm worried that we're gonna forget something essentially. That's my worry,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve the Stanley County School District 57-1 certified personnel negotiated agreement for the 2025-2026 school year as presented? First by Jess,
Second,
second by Shirley. Any discussion? Everything you changed in here is in red.
correct, and then the ones I gave you tonight are all.
Okay.
With all that red and all that taken out of it. They're clean.
Yep.
They're clean, yes, yes.
We really didn't change much.
No, a lot of it was clarification in the, evaluation, again, for accreditation. Some of it, we were already doing, it just wasn't spelled out specifically in there. Some of it was, they wanted things worded a certain way, which basically said what we already said, but in a different way, so it was just basically appeasing them. There's a couple things we had to add. That was the majority of the changes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. Can I get a motion to approve the Stanley County School District 57-1 classified personnel negotiated agreement for the 2025-2026 school year as presented? Move. First by Tyler. Second by Patty with an aye. Any discussion?
There was just one thing I noticed, just totally minor, in, one spot we refer to the carnival and in another spot we refer to the fall festival.
In the certified or the classified?
Oh. Maybe certified.
I can go back and look. I can go
Anyway,
back.
I was just gonna say, maybe whatever we're calling it now, make it consistent.
I think we
I think it
decided
was
that we were
the
gonna change it to back to carnival, so we knew what it was, but
Yeah.
I don't know where else it was written in there before, so I'll have to go look.
I think there was just one place I saw that referred to fall festival, so.
Okay.
This-
Yep. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adopt, approve, and ratify the South Dakota School District Benefits Fund Participation Agreement as presented? First by Jess. Second. Second by Tyler. Any discussion?
This is just an annual thing that we have to do for these safety movement.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adopt, approve, and ratify the Associated School Boards Workers' Compensation Fund Participation Agreement as presented?
So moved.
First by Shirley, second by Jeff. Any discussion? Same thing that we do every year.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I get a motion to adopt the following resolution authorizing the transfer of funds by the business manager from enterprise fund to general fund? Resolution number 5-2025, let it be resolved that the school board of the Stanley County School District 57-1 transfers the following cash balance from Fund 53 Enterprise Fund to Fund 10 General to General Fund at $31,292.85 from Enterprise Fund $31,292.85. First by Jess. Second by Patty. Any discussion?
This is something I've been working with the auditors on, and they finally gave me the go ahead to transfer it over. Fund 53 is when we ran the GOAL program. And they finally said just to clear it out, balance it out, since the GOAL program is on their own now.
Okay,
So I said, put that into the general fund.
that was just what was left in there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adopt the following resolution authorizing the transfer of funds by the business manager from capital outlay to general fund? Resolution number 6-2025, let it be resolved that the school board of the Stanley County School District 57-1 transferred the following cash balance from Fund 21 capital outlay to Fund 10 general to general fund $300,000 from capital outlay $300,000. First by Jess. Second. Second by Tyler. Any discussion? Will that be the last transfer this year?
No.
From capital outlay?
No.
That's 600 from capital outlay?
Yeah, I believe we had around 800 in the budget.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll probably do one in June. We get the big payment from the county and, mid-May, so we should be good.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adopt the following resolution authorizing the transfer of funds by the business manager from impact aid to food service? Resolution number 7-2025, let it be resolved that the school board of the Stanley County School District 57-1 transfer the following cash balance from Fund 27 Impact Aid to Fund 51 Food Service to Food Service $20,000 from Impact Aid $20,000. First by Tyler. Second by Patty. Any discussion?
And again, we had, 51,000, transferred in the budgets, so this one made 40,000. So we may have to do another one.
Okay.
Is this, due to meals not paid for?
Part of it, but, yeah, and then part of it is just everything, had went up in price. And
Yeah.
Food's more, and
Thankfully, we have the beat and go on, that helps us a little bit. But, yeah, this. The food service program should be self-sufficient, but it's not here.
Yeah.
And since the COVID money has, are run dry now, we're gonna have to start transferring again.
Do you know how much of that is from, not payment, like half or?
Think our, paying, I think we got like 8 to 9 thousand in past due account.
And that's just for this school year?
No, it carries over.
Okay.
Is there, did I read there is a threshold if you have above a certain, is it above a certain number of free and reduced lunch applicants, then the whole school gets free lunch?
Yes.
Are we anywhere in the ballpark? So there's not, I mean, I like if we did a push to kind of.
Yeah, no,
make sure we're catching everyone.
No, I think that's a pretty high percentage. I don't know what exactly, but I think we're at like 32% right now. So we're a ways.
What is the level, like 50 or something?
No, I think it's even higher than that, Peggy. I can check on it and get.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
It's high.
Not important, I just was wondering.
Yeah, it's a pretty high percent. You have to be.
I mean, it makes
Which
sense,
would
but
be
it would be.
nice.
Do you have any idea what it would be if we did have everyone as a wild guess, percentage wise?
If we had everybody that
Who would qualify?
qualified, we would. I don't know who would qualify and who wouldn't. You just have to push everybody to put in an application, because you never know if you
Yeah.
qualify, right? Because it's based on kids and income, and I mean, there's a lot of different factors on why you would qualify.
Correct. Could we do something in the early summer or late summer, late fall to truly point that out? Rather than in that big stack of papers that goes home and parents are just signing their name haphazardly because they're tired of the papers.
Right. I think last year we did try to make a little bit of push, and I believe it helped our numbers, I think they went up a little bit, I think we got more. I think we posted it on social media, and I know a couple letters went out.
Just on something recent.
It's just another paper that they have to fill out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just,
Yeah.
but it would help everybody. If they filled it out, but I mean, it's just, actually.
I just don't know if the general public is aware that it would help everyone if they filled it out.
No, I mean, because I had not realized that until I read it recently. And I do think there's probably, there's people who feel like they don't want to share their income. I suppose, but there's, I think there's probably, I'm guessing, a group of people who are kind of on a bubble and they would never dream that they would qualify, but yet they would. And if you put it out there and said this, if, it's important to do, because if we get above a certain level, everybody gets free lunch. And so
Yeah.
if you remotely think you might qualify, put it in and let's just see where. I think if you can portray it like this is helping the school, this is helping your neighbors, this is helping all of us. If we can get above the threshold, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
even close.
I think Ms. Han addressed this last year, didn't you, Ms. Han?
We did, we made a big push, if I could
Yeah.
speak. Middle school, high school is probably the one that does not fill it out, because a lot of our high schools leave. And that's what they say, well, I'm never here for lunch, I don't care, fill it out. I think it is improved some, because we do identify McKinney-Vento homeless students at a higher rate than we have before, so that helps our numbers. Also migrant workers, we're ahead of the game with that, with identifying some of those federal needs. So that has helped our numbers in the last few years, but we did make a big push. Identify right away if we can. People don't know too from previous school districts, you automatically are, if you from one school district to the next for a certain number of weeks before they get stuff in. So there's a lot that people, I just don't think parents are aware of.
Yep.
The more kids that you have, yes, if you're on SNAP benefits, yes. Foster children, yes. So it is a lot. I also think these little raises that we get don't help our numbers because people start to fall off. But I think you're right. I think we should continue to make a push as much as we can, especially with the middle school, high school, because I think the big percentage, Tate, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is from the elementary.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So if we can make a bigger push for the middle school, high school, I think that should be our goal. And our 21st century grant also is based on pre-introduced lunch. Am I right on that too? So the higher, I think last year, the reason why we made a big push was because we were looking at the 21st century grant.
Yep. Yeah, we should definitely keep on trying to do that.
Yeah, people need to, I need to understand, like, Pat's salary stays in that office, like, the kitchen staff doesn't know, the teachers don't know.
Right.
It stays in that office. So, I mean, I don't know if that has something to do with it, or.
Could we come, excuse me, honey, could we come up with some kind of a little something? Flyer, something simple enough to explain so that they aren't reading pages and pages.
Right.
Or send it out an email, like, you know, we get those parent notification emails.
Yeah, what about that, Mr. Baldwin?
Oh, yeah, where do you guys want?
I'm just saying that goes out to everybody and like, my husband even looks at that.
I do too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Something along those lines, maybe we could come up with that.
Yeah.
Can you fill it out online? Is it something they can do online?
You can
Yeah.
print them off online.
Yeah.
You can't fill
You
it out.
can't fill them online, okay.
But the capability is probably there.
Yes,
So if we could find the link, we could share the link and then,
yes,
and then nobody has to see it.
Then you just have to make it a fillable form.
Yep.
online.
yep.
That might be beneficial.
I think sometimes in person is always better too, because when I've explained it to people, I qualify for pre-introduced lunch, I have all these damn kids, but, I think one of the things is people have to know that, though. Like, when they find out that I'm on pre-introduced, they're like, oh, you are? And it's like, yeah, yeah, I am. So sometimes it's just making that connection with people is almost better, because then they're like, you're not the only one in the boat, you know, we all are. So it's sometimes, I think we can push it out in an email as much as we want to, but sometimes that connection in person is way better for some of our families who don't necessarily want to fill it out.
Well, and if there is an issue, if people feel reluctant to turn it in with the rest of the paperwork and they don't know, you know, they're like, the secretary's gonna see it and who else goes, I mean, if that is an issue, you know, maybe have a separate, maybe even separate it out so it doesn't get lost in the big stack of stuff, and just say this gets mailed directly back to the business office so they feel like there's only one set of eyes on it. I don't know. If that's an issue.
Or having it online, then nobody's.
Yeah, then
Right.
nobody's worried, but it goes straight, I'm just, it might be more work.
We could
but
just direct
it
it
helps our
straight over
numbers.
here.
That might be a thought, then it's more.
Well,
and it's, nobody else sees it.
And if food is going to continue to increase over the summer, you know, there are going to be people who were on that bubble that.
Yep.
On the other side of the bubble.
The new ones come out in July, right? The new pricing quote, so it wouldn't even matter right now, but for future.
Got all that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, you're up. You looked fidgety back there, I figured the last time.
You're in my mind.
What's first last time, so.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of memory.
We're a lot. This is just really important, sorry.
Thanks, Ben.
We go, real good stuff.
Did I take?
Alrighty, elementary school, so start off with my thank yous. I did speak on the phone with Barbara, but I brought her up a couple board meetings ago, if you guys remember that. Okay, so I did speak to, I spoke to her on the phone just last week. She's the one that donated a large sum of money to Dakota Marsa, and then also the milk, so she donated $1,500 milk. I just got that check this week. which if my math checks out, that's 3,750 pints of milk. And that will carry over into next year as well. So that helps big time. We had a really good conversation. She was just asking questions and interested in who, needs milk tickets and who gets it. And I'd say it's roughly about 5 per class. So we kind of figured out a number and she went with it. So she was very nice and, they're from the Fort Pierre area as well. So, and I do want to point out, and just her sake, that is from her husband. Her husband passed away. His money, this is what he wanted to do, with his money. He cares a lot about, kids in Stanley County. So I thought that was pretty cool. Next up, I got a letter from Mrs. Cronin. She addressed it to myself, Mr. Baldwin, and the school board members. It's good, don't worry. But, all good. You don't know.
Thank you. I did call and follow up with him. I was doing that.
Yeah, you're all worried. No, it is a nice letter, and I asked her if I could read it instead of just print off a copy and mail it. I asked on her behalf, and she said that'd be wonderful. So, if you haven't known, Mrs. Cronin's been subbing like every single day in the semester. We've been people gone. Right now, she's filling in for Mrs. Willis, who's on maternity leave, in the lower special education room. So, here she goes. So I've subbed in the elementary sped room for a few weeks, filling in for Mrs. Willis. I would like to share with you how lucky you are to have the staff you have. Every day is a day of changes from moment to moment. The staff changes their schedules from moment to moment to cover each situation that arises. They cover anything from low blood sugars to feeding bags to messy pants to throw out messes and many other scenarios. They've all patients galore and are caring and dedicated. I just wanted to share and make you guys aware of how lucky we are to have them here, our children in Stanley County. That's a movie from Mrs. Ned. So I want to pass you guys and obviously she's spot on. We have a great staff. I'm very appreciative of everybody and what they do. It's crazy. It's crazy down there. So, changing every day. It's a lot of fun. But, things happening, moving on here. First one, 4th grade attended field day at the Stanley County Fairgrounds on March 19th. Mrs. Meyer, I didn't know you were gonna be here. Anything you want to add to that? She took on there.
What did they do?
It was Ag Day,
Mhm.
so there were tractor companies, they got to look in the tractors that have the satellites and they look like a living room now and you can basically take a nap while your tractor, the satellite drives your tractor and, things like, preserving habitat and planting works underneath the bees and all that kind of stuff, all sorts of, local organizations that the Chamber of Commerce brings together. Whatever, there's a lot of them.
Thank you, sorry for putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
Second one, Mr. Gabriel reached out to me, part of the youth wrestling program. We set up a pep rally, or he organized it, I guess. But he set up a pep rally here for the youth wrestlers, and it was really neat. We, got all the elementary in there and we announced them one by one who was going to regions and states, and then they, region and state, and they walked, through the hallways and kind of like a parade fashion, and we cheered them on. It was like a really cool deal. It seemed like they had a great time, didn't they? Yeah, so, yeah, a lot of fun. Parents came and we gotta recognize those guys, so, and girls. Third thing, elementary students started testing, or state testing on April 1st. We're through 2 tests now. We got some makeups tomorrow for kids that missed, but, we're going right through that, so pressure's on. I know we got some scores coming in and we're seeing that, so we'll just continue to monitor that, make sure kids are here, so, we're doing that right now. Fourth thing there, Arbor Day presentation coming up on April 24th. Sounds like something they do every year. It's new for me, but that sounds like the city of Pierre, the Arbor Board comes in, they give them some, donate the trees, plant them out, or they get trees and go plant them wherever they want. So, looking forward to that. They're coming in on the 24th, so, that will be in the 2nd grade. They're studying 2nd grade students. What's that?
I said I'm about to for a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Milliken has one in her yard that somebody's kid brought over when he was in 2nd grade.
That's a long time ago.
Still alive.
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
still alive.
It's a wild rose.
They keep on giving.
We have the one that AJ brought home, right in front of her house, and it's taller than her house now.
That'd be cool.
Fifth one, great feedback on the new reading curriculum that we are piloting. We're finalizing a purchase order for that.
Now, what grades is that going to
This will be K through 5.
be through 5?
Yep, you're into 5th grade. Yeah, working on that, finalizing that, just reading. Get more, there's a lot of components to it. We'll get a purchase order together. Plan on doing it for 5 years. And, there's some online components that we can use for intervention stuff that we'll be using as well. So looking forward to that, getting that rolling next year, but we've been doing it all semester, so I think it's a pretty good deal. We'll need some training and stuff on it as well, but we'll work on that when we get everything finalized on the purchase part of it. So, One thing I forgot to add, I just thought about it, elementary concerts are coming up. Elementary concert, our spring concert will be on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I'm looking forward to that. Get to talk at it again. It's my favorite part. Can't wait. All right, student staff for the month. So kindergarten, we have Colton Gray, first grade, Renly McMurtry, second grade, Lincoln Barnes, third grade, Killian Becker, fourth grade, Zachy Canelis, fifth grade, Carly Norman, and our staff of the month goes to Mrs. Lori Glow. Just her passion and her love for teaching is very evident. She really, really cares, and you can tell every single day. And her experience is very nice with that as well. Helping everybody out in their own interest. So that's all I got. Any questions?
On the kids who are not here, for whatever the reason, we do have to still make that up, correct?
For the testing.
For the testing, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep, and we got the first week of May, so it has to be done by then.
Has to be done by the first
Yeah,
week of May.
so like we have two students that are conveniently on vacation right now.
Okay.
So when they get back, it's gonna be tested, so. Get that figured out. Yeah, and then we've had a few for sickness, illnesses, whatever, that. Trying to get those scheduled in. We're gonna do them tomorrow and get them caught up. We should be good. The two that are on vacation. Yep. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
No problem.
Just Desi,
Hi, everybody. So I'm sorry it's in a small font, but I didn't want to make two pages. So April is Autism Awareness Month, and I won't read all those to you, but, individuals with autism typically struggle with communication skills, verbal, nonverbal, and all of those things, social interactions and that kind of thing. So this is the month that we really try to focus on them and, bring out what they do know. We've got a senior who is very proud to share that he is, and will talk freely about it. So it's pretty awesome. We were fortunate as the teachers to attend the State Special Education Conference in Rapid City on the 17th and 18th. The teachers attended with me. Mrs. Willis is on maternity leave. She'll go next year. We attended breakout sessions on the legal requirements of our paperwork, truancy, school refusal, and how that affects us. And then there were some directors meetings that I was at. I was able to visit with my mentor, Mr. Weeby, and we talked about curriculum that's coming new and staffing and things like that. So that was very nice. We do have 3 open para positions for next year. We're already hiring for those and interviewing for those. Ben and I have interviewed a couple. We have another one tomorrow. Extended school year for special education. Teachers are reviewing their data, contacting parents, scheduling those. We're going to probably run that for 3 weeks in July and the first 2 weeks of August. However, each teacher can set up their own kind of schedule for that. It might vary by a day or two, depending on the needs for their kids. Here's where we kind of run into an issue. Mr. Letton, Mr. Connett and I, we've all talked about this. Students in need of credit recovery are not necessarily eligible for ESY, because if they're not in special education and they don't have the needs that show regression, they don't qualify. So then, because there is no longer ESSER funds for like summer school or summer slam for gold, we've kind of lost the funding for that particular area. So we're trying to brainstorm on how to get those kids to be able to come in, pay the staff to come in with them, and that we have the staff, we just need the dollars. So that's that.
How many kids are we talking about, do you think?
That's a Mr. Litton question.
Currently, right now, what we're doing with the kids that have maybe failed a semester, we're using that Edmentum programming and Mr. Hunter, and they're recovering their credits that way. It's working pretty well during the year.
Will we have any that won't have enough for this? Like, let's say they're juniors now and they're not gonna be able to get enough in the course of next year.
There's credits.
Yeah,
The ones that are in the program for the credit recovery have done very successfully those classes, so I don't see that as being a problem. We have probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 kids
Yes.
that have taken the credit recovery through that Edmentum and Mr. Hunter, but we didn't think we're graduating well.
good.
And those classes are like at their own pace, so they
Right.
can literally finish a class in 30 days or less.
Yeah.
And continue on to the next one and gain the credits as they go. So it is very nice. So hopefully we can get those finished.
Nice.
Student activities. Several of our kids went to the Let's Talk Work event at the Ramcota. It was sponsored by the Transitions Department at the state, held in Fort Pierre. actually it was over here, the American, not the Coda. Was a one-day workshop for middle school, high school students who have disabilities that want to learn about careers and skills that it takes to get a job, keep a job, all of those life skills that some of us assume that are automatic to know, and sometimes they're just not, and they need another little extra help, so that's what that was. The state special education reports have been released to admin. So I've been reviewing that. We'll be reviewing that with data on Friday a little bit. And we'll be using that data to develop our plan for PD and trainings and our plan for next year. Collaboration, this is my favorite part. I emailed fellow special education directors from around the area, probably within like 100-mile radius, asking if they would be interested in collaborating on PDs, trainings and stuff like that, just because money is tight and we're all small. So maybe we can work together. Several have replied yes, so I'll be planning a Zoom meeting to meet with them and see what we can work out. Possible to pair training together. It just enriches the training altogether if it's not just you or if it's not just us, right? So that's nice. And then we as an admin team came up with a survey and we sent it out to all staff. That means from Derek to the kitchen to all educational staff. Regarding PD for next year, we've asked for responses by tomorrow at noon. It is truly for all staff. It leans towards teaching staff, but we want to hear from everybody about what they want to learn about. Some of the questions in there were, what would you like to enrich your own education with in the next year to 2 years? Looking forward, what we can help with. And then as of noon, I typed this earlier. As of before I came here, we had 32 responses, which is really good. And we're getting a lot of narrative feedback on a couple other questions that are really giving us good insight. So
Nice.
that's gonna be really good. So that's it. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for reading that from Mrs. Carmen. I had no idea she sent that. That's amazing.
Thought you'd like it.
I did. Oh, it made me cry, man.
Some trips. I think I laid a copy of everything on your guys' desk. Student from month for, well, month of December, must have done February. Sixth grade Keely Bachman, seventh grade Tucker Donahue, Carson Borms, our eighth grader, Hayden Norman, ninth, 10th grader Brian Dave, Justin Treppy in 11th, and Gracie Olson in 12th. Yes, one from each grade that month. Staff of the month, Mrs. Tara Norman, who is a para that,
There is no way that family's that good.
has been doing a fantastic job and consistently at work, which I appreciate as well.
You're aware of that, aren't you? Say that, don't you?
Yeah.
Good job. You might not want to record that.
It's all recorded, so you can get that back. Prom was April 4th, had a couple hiccups with the prom, but we'll address that for next year so we don't have the same hiccups again. Hosted, as Mrs. England had said, she had 67 entries in her music contest last Friday. First opportunity I've had to actually attend one, so that was kind of cool. I got to see some of those things. Standardized testing has begun and we've set some goals for our students in the middle school and high school. I've added these to our handbook for you guys to approve. The juniors need to attain a proficient level, and proficient means they're at grade level. And we're not shooting for the moon or anything. If they're not proficient in their testing, they will not have opens in the fall. The sophomores, they take the pre-ACT. That is a possible score of 35. We're doing that because the ACTs will be required the following year. We want them to have an 18 or they won't have opens as juniors in the fall. Eighth grade, we wanted to do something for them. Actually, one of the student council members, Jack's Hopteaser, emailed me, said, Mr. Littoff, 6th and 7th graders, they're gonna get cell phone privilege once a day, you know, if they do well on their tests, but 8th graders are gonna be 9th graders. What are we gonna get? We get our cell phones at noon anyway. So we came up with maybe giving them a semester test pass if they have an A in a class. They have a proficient on their test, they get to not take one of their semester tests that semester. So those are some goals that we've set for the students to, put a little more emphasis on the testing, maybe make them take it a little more serious. Senior music trip, you had a report on that, and then figured out, worked with Infinite Campus a little bit, figured out some attendance. So you have your third quarter attendance And then went ahead and threw the staff attendance in there at the bottom as well, so you can compare those. And I guess the last thing I have here is like 353 days to my birthday. Any questions?
So on that, so proficient, like our, kids enrolled in SPED and stuff, will we have it?
We're gonna have to make exceptions for those. And I'll work with Debbie and Sonia with, we wanna see an increase.
Yeah.
Proficient, maybe it's not what we're asking for,
Yeah.
but there will be exceptions to that, obviously. But if they're not SPED, we expect them to be proficient.
Yep.
Yep.
I like it. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Keely, you have anything?
I attended sorry, I have no voice from yelling over two separate construction for the last, for 8 hours in the last 2 days, so, I went to our athletic director conference last week, so, like Jen talked about, there are some things that I came to safety and emergency action plans and like being able to do some things that are more venue specific that we need to kind of pay attention to and make sure that we have an emergency response plan within all of our facilities, not just like a generic one, it needs to be site specific. We're getting the softball field under control over there, so we put new pieces in and stuff a couple weeks ago. What else is with the athletic director conference? And then there's just some other things that we always learn something that we're probably not doing, so just finding ways to be able to implement some things. Another safety thing is just having AEDs that are probably a little bit closer than the one in the lobby for when our kids are practicing outside. For more specific, all athletes having access to pool water immersion if there's heat stroke or heat exhaustion, emergency situation, and having a plan for that. So little but big things, like it's simple changes, but you know, it could happen at any given moment, you just don't know. They're changing some things to where like, we might not have to do like first aid and safety classes on NFHS, but if you bring someone in to do CPR and first aid, you can do that in person, and then you just have to send the state their certificate. So I'm hoping they do that because I actually like that.
That would be awesome.
That part, people are actually CPR first aid certified in person, because I have the concussion. You know, I have some of those NFHS classes memorized because I've done it so much to where you just, you're not paying attention to it. You really might be missing something that's big. Because there's more kids that, there's actually a lot of athletes that die over here in the United States than you would actually realize. So kids getting run over by vehicles in cross country, heat stroke, like there's more events like that in this country than you realize. And that was just those are some big topics this last week. There's a lot of health and safety.
So if we have, because maybe getting some more AEDs, right?
We have them out, the 6 we have.
They're out now. Yeah, sure.
Derek, took the 6 that we had gotten from the sheriff's office. And then he was gonna move around the ones we currently have, so like ours are like all in the same building. He's trying to put like ours in some buildings and then the sheriff's office in some buildings, so that all of those kind are near each other, I guess.
Okay.
But we have the 6 from the sheriff's office. He has them and he was gonna put them wherever.
I'm just thinking like, because you have a first aid bag usually that's out on the football field. Probably just need to throw one in there. So we need to figure out a way to do that.
We were talking about doing that with the traveling one that we have.
Yeah.
And then send me an email, remind me on first aid CPR, because I can probably figure that out.
Okay.
To get someone to come on site.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Keely. You're up.
All right, well, besides track and field, that's a daily thing.
Yep.
A lot of what you've heard is what we're brainstorming. It's ties right in with the goals that we're working on, you know, I'm finalizing things. That one I sent you, I just keep refining that or sending you whatever I have as I update things. For instance, some of the stuff we talked about, today was yesterday. The collaboration, I believe in that big time. nothing I'd like better than to have PLCs with everybody, if I could coordinate a day with other schools, you know, and then, you know, financially or whatever the case might be. ACT incentives in the handbook, that's great stuff. The junior incentives, that's really those upper grades, it's the incentives, wanting them to take the test seriously. Differences in communication is one thing, and what I'll do is I'll share this with the staff Friday, okay, and then we'll start the game plan with you. The differences in communication with administration, we talked about the four of us trying to speak the same language, so that will help clear things up. So these, like, what you got, now here's my blue notes from yesterday. Positive calls home with the attendance. So besides the calling on absences, let's call it positives. Build some relationships, the teachers with the families. Danielson training for evaluations, so we all get on page and we know what our expectations are. PD administration, maybe we look at a book study or something there. Other things, type of came in the other day, we had an internship training presentation, that was pretty neat. You know, there's a lot of things out there where they're really trying to help incentivize people to go into certain career paths, so that's wonderful. And after that, I added free and reduced messages on here, so that'll be just another thing that I can push that could tie in with some of this. And really, if that nothing else, just, I'm gonna continue to update you, and I hope you don't mind daily emails, or
I like them.
I wanna share them
Yeah.
as I get them. So you know where I'm getting my stuff from, so.
This sounds sad, but you're really the only one that emails me, so
Oh, okay.
I don't mind getting them every once in a while.
Well, you can get my 100 vendor ones a day too, or whatever, so.
I'll try
I mean, it's just everything.
Wife about that.
Anything else?
No, I don't.
Well, thank you. You're up.
Alright, per South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2, negotiations. I declare the board in executive session for South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2. Negotiations at 7:24.
First by Jess. Second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. What time?
7:24.
Oh, yeah, 24.
Nine.
Making a motion to accept the following resignations. Stephanie Todd, elementary teacher. Mandy Trevi, concession stand manager. Allison Bender, student council advisor. And Aaron Herprom, supervisor, effective at the end of 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
First by Jess, second by Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to authorize business manager to offer contracts to Lane Bowler, elementary teacher, $47,710. Guy Hunter, middle school math, $56,270. And Elizabeth Burke, elementary teacher, $49,985 for the 2025-2026 school year. First by Jess, second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I get a motion to authorize business manager to offer contracts to the following certified staff for the 2025-2026 school year? John Anders, Nicole Barnes, Lori Bomberger, Allison Bender, Brian Bonhorst, Elizabeth Quirk, Keely Braceland, Paige Brandt, Melissa Bullock, Sherry Cornelis, Keely Connett, Travis Corneliuson, Roxana Davila, Kim Doherty, Michael Dowell, Tina England, Joseph Fisher, Maxwell Foth, Amber Garrett, Lori Glow, Nicole Hahn, Aaron Herr, Guy Hunter, Marisa Schultz, Sonia Johnson, Connie Johnson, Sarah Campa, Christy Maher, Becky McKeever, Christina Merrill, Jennifer Milliken, Clinton Neville, Maria Scott, Shannon Schweitzer, Cheryl Sorensen, Shay Vandenhamel, Lane Bowler, Therese Vollmer, Brittany Willis.
Second, I'll go ahead either way.
First by Jeff, second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to authorize business manager to offer letter of intents to the following classified staff for the 2025-2026 school year? Go for it.
Darcy Bowe, Noel Cornelius, Alvin Ekstrom, Marie Frost, Courtney Geigel, Stacy Gok, Jen Harrington, Sheila Jones, Cindy Kindle, Marcy Kuiper, Taylor Cooper, Amanda Lewis, Herman Meyer, Lane Myers, Lori Norman, Tara Norman, Anna Rutherford, Christy Severson, Mona Smith, Betty Telementas, Andrea Wilson, and Chad Zachariason.
Opposed?
Second.
First by Tyler, second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to authorize business manager to offer letters of understanding to the following co-curricular extra duty positions?
You do,
Go for it.
you and you want me to read off there?
Yeah, read it and what they are.
All right. Allison Bender, special education stipend. Brian Bonhorst, oral and chirp yearbook advisor. Jody Bothwell, middle school volleyball. Haley Brayson, Indian education grant coordinator, athletic director, Veterans Day coordinator. Amy Brady, basketball cheerleading. Jill Cowie, football cheerleading. Sure. Shuri Cornelius, special education stipend. Mike Chrysler, middle school boys basketball. Ben Conant, assistant varsity boys basketball. K-12 SAT case manager, federal programs director. Roxana Davila, assistant director, One Act Play, special education stipend. Tim Doherty, National Honor Society supervisor, K-12 assessment. Terry Dragisette, head varsity volleyball. Tina England, band supervisor, 612 vocal music, senior class advisor. Herman Fennel, assistant varsity football. Joseph Fisher, middle school football, head varsity boys basketball. Maxwell Folk, head varsity football. Tate Gabriel, assistant varsity football. Courtney Geigel, special education stipend. Craig Keller, middle school wrestling. Damon Hofteaser, assistant varsity football. Sonia Johnson, assessment specialist, special education stipend. Krista Kearns, middle school volleyball. Ryan Knight, head varsity boys wrestling. Taylor Cooper, special education stipend. Marcy Cooper, special education stipend. David Larson, FFA supervisor. Desiree Ludke, 504 coordinator, special education director, transition specialist, special education stipend. Herman Meyer, special education stipend. Mendel Miller, middle school girls basketball. Jennifer Milliken, director, One Act Play, policy assistant. Clinton Neville, assistant varsity boys wrestling. Tara Norman, special education stipend. Anna Rutherford, head varsity girls wrestling, special education stipend. Daniel Traversy, middle school boys basketball. Shay Vandenhamel, head cross country. Brittany Willis, special education stipend. Andrea Wilson, special education stipend. And Chad Zachariason, special education stipend.
First by Tyler. Second by Patty. Any discussion?
Yes, Jen Harrington should be added to that as teammates mentioned.
Yep. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to authorize business manager to offer contracts for the 2025-2026 school year to the following administration? Dan Baldwin, superintendent. Kate Gabriel, business manager. Kurt Latas, 612 principal. Ben Connet, student affairs. Derek Myers, director of maintenance. Sarah Sterling, director of technology. And Desiree Lucky, sped director / teacher. First by Jess. Second by Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve lane change for Lori Blow from MA +16 to MA +32 in the amount of $1,550 effective for the 2025-2026 school year?
So moved.
First by Shirley. Second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve open enrollment applications number 572425039040, 041, and 042? Move. First by Tyler. Second by Jess. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve Bill Elwanger as a softball volunteer and Jason Titsey as a golf volunteer for the 2024-2025 school year?
Second.
First by Jess, second by Shirley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second for Jeff, second by Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are 9:10.